What's up, everyone? Jumping on to talk a little bit about why I think progressions are an important part of going through your class and why I think you should have progressions. First, what is a progression? Progression is just a step-by-step, whether it's certain movements or layering, if you know what that means. It's just a certain process to get you to your end goal of what you're wanting to coach that day. So for example, we have squat cleans today, and basically you would have steps of how to get to that squat clean. And that's really all a progression is. In CrossFit itself, there are certain progressions that are already laid out that we use. For example, med ball cleans, sumo deadlift high pull, push jerk have certain ones that are very common, but also there's nothing wrong with changing your progression that fits your members, but also maybe there's a certain cue or movement that you have in your toolbox that helps members understand better. So there's nothing wrong with that. So a little example of a progression. So again, like I said, we have squat cleans today. So full squat clean. For someone just walking in, you tell them, hey, watch me do this, now you do it. Most members are not gonna be able to do that fully and have a full understanding, especially if they've never moved a barbell, if they've never squatted. They're gonna not have the same understanding as I would have, or a member that's been doing it for a few years. So how would we break that down? So just a very short, simple progression that we could use is first our setup, hands outside of our shoulders, feet under our hips. That gets your member there. And then we go down to that mid-shin position and make sure that they have a good setup, which is going to be very important to make sure that they don't have a rounded back for when they're pulling, and just gets a good foundation for even other lifts as you go throughout your CrossFit journey. Then from there you can build on it. So maybe we're gonna go with a deadlift and shrug. And then from there we go with a deadlift and high pull. Then maybe a muscle clean. Specifically for today, a squat clean. So maybe we go front squat. And then we start to bring those pieces together. Then we end with that full movement. So that's going to allow us to break down the squat clean. What I would recommend, if you're doing progressions, one thing that I have learned as I've developed as a coach is making sure that you have a focus for each one. So for example, let's say in my deadlift and high pull, my focus is going to be letting the members know, hey, keep that bar close. And that's all I'm looking for. Now, I'm not going to look for how the bar speed is. I'm just looking to see if they're keeping that bar close. And if they aren't, then we're going to change or talk about how we do that. And that's just a little bit about progressions. I hope you learned something.